Start. Nitya, I think you should start with your presentation and then we go on.
Thank you. So, good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank Professor Albert for giving us this opportunity. And today I would be talking on the emerging role of heritage organizations in community development. And I would be talking in specific about a case study, a heritage organization that I was involved in, and it's from the south of India. So I would be talking and how it was translated in terms of a project. So to start off with, when we were given this task of talking about sustainability and going beyond, initially I had to talk, from my own cultural background, I was like, okay, let me start to understand what India was all about. So when I started reading, I was amazed. India, we had 1,652 languages, 3,000 castes, 2,800 ethnic communities, 10 major religions, 600 communities have more than one religion. And I was like, where do I start from? So then the question, where do I start from? I realized I think I should start from the very beginning. Because when it comes to India, there's so much of sustainability concept and practice, which was there, which was a way of living in ancient India. Right from our rituals, right from our food, right from the way we ate. Like for example, the banana leaf that was used, it was eco-friendly. And once we are done, we feed the cows, so giving it back to nature. Everything was sustainable. So it was more like a way of life. So I realized, yes, I think I should look within rather than looking beyond when it comes to India. So this is one quote which really inspired me even as a school kid. So I thought India, okay, it's a very famous quote by Mahatma Gandhi. India is to be found in its few cities. Not in its few cities, but in its villages. And I think it's true when it comes to heritage and other things also, because there are a lot of treasures which are embedded in rural India. So if you take the rural India, this is the general scenario that you get to see in an everyday rural India. These are pictures from a village in Tamil Nadu, India, the south of India. And if you take, in general, what do the villagers have? So this is the scenario, like you have the agricultural farm, the land, the clear blue skies, and more than that, happy faces, and yes, simple and nice people. But most of them, they aspire to move to the cities. Why? Because the smiling faces, the small kids that you see, they aspire to become movie stars and later to become political leaders. And for example, the movie star that you can see, she is the current chief minister of Tamil Nadu. So they all think they could become, movie stars and political leaders. But in reality, what happens? This is the scenario. Like you have slum development, the squatter system, and you can see if this could happen to people, what can happen to our heritage? It's a very, very sad thing that's happening right now. So you can say in rural India, there are a lot of, jokes apart, you have a lot of other factors like push and pull factors. So for example, better job opportunities, educational facilities, and all these factors are alluring the rural people to migrate to the urban sector. So when I have to talk about heritage, especially in rural India, this is one of the images that you can see. It's in a village called Chettinad, and it's called the Village of Palaces. So it's one of the houses that you can see. So you can see the ostentatious work, and it's almost it's a palace. And over the past, this was about 15 years ago. So right now, this is what's happening. So most of the heritage is lost. There's so much damage that's happening, and especially in the past 50 years. So we should understand that preservation and conservation cannot be the responsibility of the government alone. I think in most of the developing countries, the initiative of any organization and participation of community is very, very essential for anything to be sustainable. So if you take, with having this in mind, there's an organization called Indeco, which was started in a village in Tamil Nadu, especially in Swami Malay. And if you take this village, it was an 1896 Tanjore village. And like most of the villages in different parts of India, each village is unique in terms of its art, architecture, culture, cuisine, and so on. And yeah. So even this village had some unique features in it. And it was started by this person called Mr. Steve Berger. Right now, he's also part of the Ecotourism Society of India and also part of the advisory body of World Heritage Matters UNESCO. So he had a very global perspective when he started this whole initiative. And there are also other heritage structure around this belt, so it's very rich in terms of art, culture, and heritage. So these are the 3 sites that you can find within a radius of, about 10 to 15 kilometers from the hotel. So, yeah. If you take, this is the overview of the village. Like most of the villages, you have like very, very traditional architecture which is involved in the housing. And then you have other, like you have the community space, and it was all planned in a very vernacular and sustainable way. But most of the houses are shut. So like about 20 years back, people were migrating from the rural to the urban sector. And most of the heritage, everything was getting dilapidated. So Mr. Steve, he bought the Heritage Hotel, and this is what is happening right now. The essence of the village is kept intact. Like, for example, the community space where the villagers used to congregate and discuss, it's kept intact, and even the houses are kept intact. And we are just trying to preserve it and do some little kind of restoration with the communities. So what started off as a hotel, it was not basically tourist-centric, it was community-centric. It started within the framework of what the community had to offer. So what they know, what they do, and what they probably practice is what is being used in this particular hotel. So if you take, Tanjore architecture is also very, very famous. You just cross like few minutes and then the architecture is slightly different. So we had to keep this in mind, do a lot of research, and basically I've done my architecture, but I learned so much from the communities, like in terms of vernacular architecture, because it was all sustainable. Like even the central courtyard space, it was made in such a way so that to cater to the hot and humid climate of India. So the essence of the village was kept intact. And then you can see the interiors. Like, for example, the window that you see with the peacock, it was a kind of craft work which was made by the local people. They used tin to do this. The tin was sandwiched between two glass sheets. So if you take this particular craft is dying right now. So we made sure we called the villagers and asked them to do stuff. So they needed, the basic thing about sustainable tourism is economic sustainability, which is very, very essential in a developing country. Because most of the NGOs, they start off as a social organization, but then over a period of time it dies because there's no proper sustainability factor when it comes to economy. So we needed to do something for the economy. So it started off as an hotel, but then it permeated into various other fields. So I'll just show you the other pictures. So if you take even the cuisine, the food that they serve, it was what the village had. They had their local cuisine. So the employees, we made the employees go and find out the recipes from their grandparents and parents and then try them in our hotels, and that was served for that tourists and guests. So I think it was very welcoming because they really enjoyed the experience. And even the khadi, the shirt that they wore, was spun in the village. So whatever was invested within the village. We didn't try to import things from the city, didn't try to import things from the neighboring villages. So we ensured even the local boys, the unemployed people are employed in this. So a little bit of training, because hospitality was something very close to their heart. I mean, it's their daily, everyday life. So we just made sure we trained them to cater to the tourists, like basic things like, basic English and stuff. But the rest of it, they already had within them. So, yeah. And also there is this in-house museum which talks about heritage and heritage. So the Tanjore art is very, very region specific. So this is basically to create awareness and to show that, what the region has and what the village has. So this, you can see how the village or the hotel in general has progressed, and the economic development of the village also was boosted like 3 or 4 times from what it had. So this village was very, very good in terms of the craft work, which is iconography. So it was also done within the hotel, and people used to discuss this and learn more about this. And the local musicians and the dancers were involved in participating and exhibiting what they had for the tourists as well. And even the architecture, we try to replicate what the past had with the local communities and try to involve the local communities in getting the whole thing done with the hotel. So there's an aircraft which was restored, and yeah, you can see the community involvement in the restoration process. So this is the basic crux of it, and yeah, it was not just a social service, it had to be business, responsible business. And this was one of the interesting structure in terms of the project. You have a heritage structure. Of course, it was in the city, and they needed the land for a shopping mall. So the entire heritage was translocated, and it was reconstructed in this particular village. So you can see the pictures of this. Yeah. And everything is documented, the restoration work. And we also did a lot of research with respect to the temples nearby. And yeah, so this is the entire thing. And there's a lot of educational work which is happening, so we involve the students, and it's also like the awareness is created and the message is passed on. So yes, finally there are failures and disappointments, but perseverance is the key and sustainability is the hope. So perseverance, when it comes, which could be permeated through education, and sustainability that could be achieved by community participation. Thank you.